Hi everyone, I'm Tanin here. Today I would like to summarize the book Blue Ocean Strategy by Renee and Kim-Chan. This book was first published in year 2005, and I read this book around 6 years ago. And this book was republished in year 2015, and this book was quite influential in the business world in the past 10 years. It is one of the Bible for many of the business to creating the new competitive advantage or creating a new blue ocean for their own company. Before we start with the concept, I would like to explain two key concepts in this book. The first thing is the market, or what we call ocean in this book. The second concept is the concept about strategy, because if you don't understand the concept about market and the concept about strategy and you go to read this book, you may not fully understand the concept the author trying to explain. I would like to start with the first concept is the full market. In this book, we can actually categorize the competitive space or the business competition into four market space. The first thing is the non-target market, or the target that we're not really interested in. We are not good at it, or we are not focused on it, but others people are focused on it. So that's the characteristic of the first market. And this book not mention much about this because it's not something that we concern. The second is the blind spot or undiscovered market. It's the market that not yet been discovered by anyone. You are not focused, and others people also not focused too. So it's a blind spot. And the third market is the market that we call red ocean, or the market that everyone think is good and you think is good too, but it's actually a lot of competition and you need to be best to be able to win the market. And the last, the author called it blue ocean, or the market where very little competition and you can gain more profit from this market, because not everyone actually know there's such market, or not everyone focused to compete with you, or not everyone can compete with you. The second concept is about the concept of strategy. I remember when I was in the university, I read the Harvard Business Review, and Michael E. Porter, the father of the modern strategy, he mentioned about what is strategy and why strategy is different to improvement, or is actually different to innovation. So let's say you are doing a business and you produce a good and service to the market. You need to build a product with a good quality, or the axis, the vertical axis, the good quality one. And also you need to set the price at a very affordable or a cheap price, cheap enough for people to be able to afford to pay. But these two will have something in the economics called trade-off, mean that if you want a very very high quality one, the price will be expensive, so you will produce less affordability. So if your company is at the A point where the quality is still poor and the affordability is still very poor, and you want to move from the A point to the B point, we don't call this a strategy to move from A to B. We call this improvement, because you can improve without any constraint. Basically, you're just getting better and hit the B point. At B point, if you want to move further to the outer, you cannot anymore, because you are already hit something called trade-off. between quality and affordability. So at this point, you need to choose, and you need to design whether you're gonna go for C or gonna go for D. Uh, so this is a true strategy, because when you have strategy, you are in a position that you are on top of the trade-off line, where you need to choose one and you will lose one quality of it. So if you choose to go to C for the high quality, like iPhone actually choose to go to the high quality model, then you have the expensive, less affordable, and uh, and it's very good quality. But if you move to the D, like for example, you are the Android manufacturer, and you want it to be cheap and differentiate yourself from Apple, so you move to D. So you are cheaper, but the overall quality is actually going to reduce, because you are in a constraint line. So, but if you're at B and you're moving to E, mean that you have a better quality, yet you are actually more affordable. We call this innovation. So to make an innovation happen, you need to use another framework called TRIST, but I will not mention about innovation here. But in this book, actually talk around the idea of how you move between B to C or B to D, and which one is better. So come back to the main key idea of this book. Let me switch to the key of this book. The book, Blue Ocean Strategy, it starts with a simple idea that is there any holy land of success, the holy land of business, where you be in the market space where there is no competition happen. So that would be good, because when we actually in business, we knowing that every day we have to compete with others people and offer something better. So in the current world, we are actually driven by a mega competition. The reason behind we are in a mega competition compared to 10 years ago, or compared to 20 years ago or 50 years ago, because of two reasons. One is the change in the world itself. We are more globalized, so we are not only compete with the local player. As you may notice that many of the country not even producing its own brand of the car or its own brand of the handphone anymore, because you're competing with the giant from all the country in the world. The second thing is about financialization. Money can buy almost everything, and money influence actually increasingly become very important. And the big bang of the technology, including the internet, the big data, the cloud, the technology to make a chip, the RAM, everything. So these three components of globalization, financialization, and big bang in technology are creating a big bang in a change that make things move so fast and so fierce and so complex, and things happen, and it's stimulating a competition. There's a new challenge all the time. You can see the big giant that actually died in our lifetime a lot. And another thing is the measure of the market. The behavior of the consumer have changed very much in the past 50 years, and it will continue to change. As you can see in the marketing framework, that it changed quite a lot. In the new world, you can see that the market is driven by the value that we create. It's not only the value that of the product, it's a value of overall offering. A glimpse of this you can see from the three generation of marketing. The first generation of marketing is focused on functional, like if you produce the product, it's already okay. Then the second generation, you produce the product, you need to look at the customer, what customer want. And the third is actually collaborative between functional, emotional, and the spiritual. If you can see the framework of individual and how the company work, and how it creating a new more complex offering and make a lot of the value generating stream. And the business is actually the new world. We are actually working in a fast moving innovative economy eras. So how to survive? It's very simple. If you want to survive, you just need to work hard, compete, and be better, or being best in the term of success of being best. But only a few companies can be best. Only a few companies can be number one and number two in that red ocean. But how you can survive and thrive? So you need to developing a new different segment and positioning and offering. Best way is place yourself in a place where there's no competition, or what we call being different. So, and that's all what is actually the book is about, being different and creating a different segment in the market. And that's all about blue ocean strategy. And if you ask me what is this book is about, this book is about is strategy framework that you need to walk through, so you can find the strategy or the positioning of your product and service of your company. So the framework consists of around 12 things inside, and you walk through the process using this framework. So I will introduce the important framework here, so you can actually use in your own business too. The first framework is called value innovation. Not all innovation or not all offering that you do is built equal to everyone. So if you see this framework, you will understand. So above is the cost and the supply. The light blue one here is the buyer value, or what the consumer really need. I give you the example of the airline. I think in Southeast Asia, the emerging airline like the low cost airline like Air Asia, they cut a lot of costs on something that the buyer doesn't evaluating the value. Like for example, you give a free meal, you let people drink wine in the airplane. So when Air Asia implementing this type of strategy, the airplane ticket becomes super cheap, and it creating a value innovation to the buyer, and the traveling between the country become very cheap, and it changed the landscape of the industry forever. And Air Asia changed, many of the airlines trying to change, but they cannot fully doing as good as Air Asia, so they cannot compete with Air Asia. The second framework that actually you should look into is the action, for action to creating the blue ocean. I found this definition framework quite interesting. This framework is called ERRC framework. Eliminate, raise, reduce, or create. So they're saying that in order for you to creating a value, because in a blue ocean strategy, you need to creating a new value. So this new value can be created by eliminate, raise, reduce, or creating a new value. So this can use together with another tools called strategy canvas. So you will write in the example here, is the example of the phone industry. As you know, in the phone industry, there is many value that the phone actually manufacturer is trying to produce. So for example, the processor, screen size, thinness, screen quality, battery life, camera, SD card, you can choose your own color or custom color, and how good it is as the value from 0 to 5. So if you compare the offering from different people that actually offer this, for example, E mean eliminate. The first company that eliminating this is iPhone or the Apple. So they're eliminating the SD card that you can extend the memory inside. So when you eliminate this, it creating higher qualities internal storage, and you have no risk of losing the data. This is one of the offering, but it have trade-off. So and the second one is rest. For example, thinness. Some of the manufacturer trying to make it very thin. So for those people that feel it's matter to them, is actually will buy those thin thing. Or some company actually reduce mean that you actually make it less battery life, so the overall weight actually improve. Or you are actually improve the camera, like iPhone actually improve the camera so it's better than others people. Or you can creating a new totally completely new value that people not offer, like Motorola. Actually you can actually go to the website and be able to customize your own color, really, and then the manufacturing will auto doing a coloring and send the very customized color to your own use. The next the next tools is 6 part to the Blue Ocean. So it's a 6 tools that you used, so you can learn what you need to do to go to the Blue Ocean. Myself, I quite prefer the TRIS model because the TRIS model provide a concrete solution to the conversion, to the innovation, to find this type of path. But I think let's explore what Blue Ocean offer. It's saying that you need to learn from the alternative or the substitute industry. So for example, if you are actually a school, maybe you learn from the distance learning school. You are the international school, you learn from the tutorial school, which actually they are totally from a different industry. They can be a substitute, but they're in a different industry. Or you can learn from different alternative. Number 2, path 2, you can learn from the alternative strategic groups in the same industry. For example, if you are in the formal education industry, you may be the international school, you may be the bilingual school, or you may be the traditional private school, or you may be the public school. You can learn from people with different strategic group, so you can learn from them. And the third one is you learn across the buyer group, like first tier customer, second tier customer, or the third tier customer. You can segment the customer by income. You can segment the customer by ethnic group. You can segment the customer by geographic location. You can segment them by income, by age, by gender. So the fourth is you learn from different offering or the product. So you need to understand the motive of the consumer. So why the consumer decide that way, by understanding before, during, and after what they feel, what they actually perceive about the product value. And path 5 is learning across the functional and emotional orientation of the industry. Like what we learned from the marketing 2.0, there's a mixture between functional and emotional. And in marketing 3.0, you need to have a mix between functional, emotional, and spiritual. And the orientation of this means that how much mix you actually add into functional, how much you add into emotional. Some product is very functional, some product is more emotional, some product is more spiritual. So you need to make sure that the product value mix is actually according to the customer group. and you need to look across the time. Why you need to look across the time is because some of the trend or the fad is actually come here just a very short period of time. It's not actually going to creating a big impact into the business. I give you the example. The augmented reality. One times, I think most people, many of the developer actually creating avatar, so become a dog, become something that is not you, and go to the virtual world. That trend doesn't happen, at least for now, and it's not creating any business impact. The second thing is irreversible. Like for example, electricity. Once the electricity come, it never go back to the era where you don't use electricity. Everything in your life use electricity as the basic ground. Something that come in the future like AI, robot, and another technology will come to stay. And a clear trajectory or the clear projection about what will happen in the future. We knowing that sooner or later the taxi driver as a career will be gone, because the AI automated car will actually come and replace them. So this one is quite a clear trajectory. And the next two is you must actually set the strategic in the right sequence. In this book, they mention about 4 key strategy that you need to make decision: buyer, utilities, or the value that the reason why people buying your own product. Reason why people buy your product have to come first. And then you decide the price, the affordability, and then you decide the earning point, how much you would earn, how much margin you would get. And the last one is the adoption or the execution. What is the real bottleneck when you're going to execute? What thing you need to be done? In the old world, you often start the business with adoption, meaning that what you can do, how much would it cost, and how much you can sell, and then what kind of value people will get it. But in the modern days, in the blue ocean strategy, you need to start with the buyer, utilities, and then go to the pricing, go to cost, and then go to adoption. In order for you to grow, you have a few ways to be able to grow. So first, you grow from the existing segment. You need to be better. We call this in a business term fair advantage. You need to be you need to have a fair advantage over others people. Fair advantage could mean that, for example, if you go to the rest, you're not using drug, you actually start together, and you're not using a better equipment, something like that. So in business it's the same. Fair advantage only happen when you are try better, or you offer something better with a cheaper price. The second is to maximize the size of the blue ocean, or what we call this unfair advantage. So you need to have unfair advantage. One or two of the I will give example of two of the unfair advantage, like monopoly. For example, if you go to new area with the name, in the name of some certain thing, then people cannot copy your name, so it become monopolized. The second thing is hard to copy. So if it's hard to copy, then you still have the unfair advantage. And the third one is unlock or convert the non-customer to your new customer. So in this book, they're saying that it's very important in the process of creating a blue ocean to be able to convert a non-customer to your customer. So in order for you to be able to do this, you need to understanding that there's 3 tier of the non-customer. Tier 1, soon to be, actually they just don't know you, or they know you but you need some certain trigger, then they will become your customer. And tier 2, they know you already, but the offering that you make is unmet their requirement. So this a tier that they have need, but their need is you cannot fulfill their need. And the third is unexplored, mean that the people who don't know that they need to do, or they need to use, or they don't know there's your product or service benefit. They never try your product or the service before. So with Blue Ocean Strategy, this book aim for the business to be able to create the market space. Market space is where the demand and supply met, and you can be in that without the mega competition. So you have little or no competition for a certain long enough period of time. So that concludes my summary of the book called Blue Ocean Strategy by Renee and Kim-Chan. I hope if you like this book, please buy the book and read the details, because in the book they give a lot of business case that you can understand in depth about the actual impact when you actually implement any of this framework. Thank you.